Hey everybody, welcome back. What's going on? Today we're going to be talking about the college football playoff national championship game. Holy moly. We had the Ohio State Buckeyes going up against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and Buckeyes came out of it 34-23. To talk about the game a little bit, me personally, I thought Notre Dame's defense was incredible going into this game. They've been incredible all college football playoff long, and they are super, super tough, so stout, and they are absolute menaces. However, going into this game, I had no doubt in my mind that Ohio State was going to win this game. College Football 25, the video game, knew what they were doing when they decided to make all the Ohio State players just OP as hell, because they have been just absolutely, unequivocally stacked all season. All season. But the game starts. Notre Dame has the opening drive. And we see Riley Leonard, who had some question marks about him, do his best, Josh Allen impression. He was watching the game yesterday versus the Ravens, and he decided, and the coaches decided, we like Josh Allen's tape to win some games. So let's have Riley Leonard on the opening drive take 9 designed QB runs. Quarterback draw, quarterback blast, quarterback, whatever you want to call it, quarterback sneak. He was running that thing out there. Man, this is inexcusable if you're Notre Dame. He led the game in rushing for Notre Dame. And you had Jeremiah Love, who's an absolute stud, take 4 carries for 3 yards, probably because you were behind most of the time, but that's not a recipe for success. When you have a guy as good as Jeremiah Love, you got to feed that guy at least. At least before the game gets out of hand to where you have to pass all the time. But, didn't happen. And, obviously we knew Notre Dame was a team that most of the time their defense was going to be the big focal point of the game for them. But how do you stop Ohio State? Ohio State just seems undefendable, unguardable at a lot of times. They're absolutely stacked at running back. Quinshon Judkins had 2 touchdowns on the day when it's looked like that TreVeyon Henderson has been the better running back, for the most part throughout the year. Judkins obviously is amazing still, but TreVeyon Henderson has been even more, just that more amazing. And he took over this game. Judkins took over this game. And then on the receiver end, you have Carnell Tate, Emeka Egbuka, and the young stud Jeremiah Smith, man. How do you stop this team? It's completely difficult. You have to do it by just scoring more points than them and hoping you get 1 or 2 stops more. So yeah, I mean that's kind of how it went. But even then, Ohio State's defense is just that good too. They've got so many first and second rounders coming out. You've got Tyleik Williams, and you've got guys like Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs and Lathan Ransom, guys who are all going to be drafted this year for the most part. Jack Sawyer. So, it was kind of a losing uphill battle for Notre Dame to begin with, and that was always my opinion. A lot of people didn't see it that way, though. A lot of people like the underdog story. They always like Notre Dame as a historical franchise, organization in college football. But yeah, that game, Ohio State just looked like they were running at this game with a full head of steam as far as their momentum, beating Texas last year with all the theatrics that happened in the late game of that game. It's been an incredible run for Ohio State, and I congratulate them. I'm not personally myself too much of an Ohio State fan, but you can't take away from them the incredible year that they've had. And Will Howard, oh my God. Will Howard went into the half. He didn't get his first completion until third quarter. He went 12 for 12 or 13 for 13, whatever the case may be, going into the half. And he made all the right plays, all the right decisions. He definitely after this game raised his draft stock, because even though he doesn't necessarily have the best arm talent, and he definitely benefits by the fact that the college football field is wider because he can hit more people in space. And he has an absolute great O line that protects him until he needs to pass it, basically for the most part, because it didn't seem like he had too much pressure, at least in the first half. Even though he's got not the best arm talent, he's looking like someone who's extremely accurate. So between him and someone else who is going to go top 2 in this draft as far as quarterbacks go, Shedeur Sanders, who is extremely accurate, has a little bit more upside, of course, as opposed to Will Howard, but the accuracy is a big feature of Will Howard's game, and I think we need to give him credit for that. And I think he's the type of guy that obviously, like, training and development in the NFL can only do so much. Can we help him get a stronger arm by working out, like by the conditioning and strength and conditioning training we have in the NFL? Maybe. But he's going to be a guy that people that will be drafted and will find his way onto rosters just based on the strength of the fact that he's accurate and makes good decisions, and he has poise, he has maturity. And so for that reason, he's going to be a great, at the very least, second string backup quarterback, because if your starting quarterback goes down and you have a guy like Will Howard come out, or even like a career kind of stopgap bridge guy, he's going to be good for that because he's got all the IQ when it comes to that. Of course, it helped that he had the best weapons in the country, but he's got some game. He's got some game for sure. And Riley Leonard, similar sizes as Will Howard, around that 6'4" range. The way that he can run the ball. Is he going to be able to do that in the big leagues? We'll see. But he definitely showcased that he has grit and toughness in this game. So we'll see how teams kind of evaluate that in comparison to whatever the rest he does going into the pre-draft combine and everything. I'm excited for a lot of these guys to go into the draft because a lot of them are absolute studs, especially coming from the Notre Dame defense and basically everywhere you can think of on the Ohio State team. But yeah, great game. Enjoyable game. A lot of people had concerns about the fact, or took issue with the fact that they didn't market it super well, which I agree with. They haven't marketed this national championship game very well just because of the quarterbacks that were featured. And like we said, we got to give them all the credit in the world, both of them. Quarterbacks that were featured weren't super marketable as far as like they weren't Heisman candidates. They weren't guys that you jump out of your seat about because they're not going to be highly touted in this draft, at least as it stands currently. But we got to do a better job about that because there's definitely a good game to watch. We could just to even watch Ohio State's dominance, worth watching that game. But yeah, I mean, down the stretch, Notre Dame looked like they might have a little fight getting back into it, but they just didn't execute on the offensive end and make the right plays down the stretch, and Ohio State came out of this victorious as national champions. So congratulations to Ohio State, and let me know what you think in the comments about how you felt about the game, how you felt about some of the players going to the draft. Drop a like if you enjoy, subscribe, and follow me on all socials down below in the description. Peace.